Hi guys! So I know I haven't made a video in a little bit, but I decided that I was going to make one for you today because why not? Let's just do it. I'm really into reading, and since I decided that I was going to make this channel into something that I really like and something that reflects me more so, I decided that I was going to count down my top 10 favorite books for you guys. Just because I thought it would be a fun thing to do, and because I like talking books. I love talking about my favorite books, and I love hearing feedback about the books that I like, and I love hearing about other people's favorite books. So let's get started. Actually, these are in no particular order, by the way. They're just a thing. The first book on my list is Memoirs of a Teenage Amnesiac by Gabrielle Zevin. Basically, this book is about a girl named Naomi who was in yearbook club, and she and her friend were leaving school one day, and they realized they forgot the camera in the yearbook club book room. Can't speak. They did a coin toss to see who would go get the camera, and Naomi lost. So Naomi had to go get the camera, and while she was going down the stairs, she slips and falls and hits her head. And when she wakes up, it turns out she has amnesia. It's really interesting watching her try to figure out, who her friends are and what has happened in her life, and try to get used to all of this kind of stuff and get used to herself and learn about herself. And it's really interesting to read. I've always been really interested in amnesia and things like that anyway. I always thought that stuff was really interesting. So reading a book about it from the point of view of someone with amnesia is just really fantastic. It's a young adult novel, and it does get a little bit sad in some points. If you don't like books like that, then maybe not a book for you. The second book on my list, I don't actually have with me right now. I've lended it to a friend. But the second book on my list is called 13 Reasons Why, which is a pretty popular book. It is extremely sad. I found it so. If you don't like sad books, I definitely do not recommend reading this one, and I'm going to tell you why. The story is about a girl who she has already committed suicide when the book starts. And what the book is about is there is a tape going around that she made before she died that go to 13 different people, and it explains to each person why they are part of the reason that she decided to kill herself. And it is extremely painful to read, but it is definitely worth it. It's extremely emotional, and it's kind of an eye-opener to the way you treat people and the way that people perceive things that may not be exactly the way they are. It is absolutely an amazing book, and I recommend it to anybody who does like sad young adult novels, because it was just mind-blowingly good. The next book on my list is Egghead by Bo Burnham. This is a poetry book. Bo Burnham is a comedian. He was discovered on YouTube, and he is hilarious. I've been a fan of his for a long time, and he is just really clever. And so a lot of the things that he says are also kind of profound, and it's just like, whoa, it's funny, but at the same time it makes you think about stuff. And that's really what Egghead is. It's a lot of really funny stuff, really raunchy stuff, but also stuff that really makes you think. So Egghead, or You Can't Survive on Ideas Alone by Bo Burnham, I definitely recommend it for just about anyone if you are okay with raunchy humor. Another book on my list that I don't actually have a copy of with me right now, this is the last one, is Paper Towns by John Green. I have lent this book to a friend of mine about this guy named Quentin, who meets this girl whose name is Margot Roth Spiegelman. And she is just amazing in every kind of way. She's the kind of girl that everyone's like, oh my god, she's so great, Margot is fantastic and incredible, and blah blah blah. And they are next door neighbors, and they have not talked in a really long time since they were kids. Like they've just not been friends or whatever because she's popular and Q is not so popular. At one point Margot comes up to him and she says, you know, I need your help tonight, and they go on an adventure together. And then the next day when Q wakes up, he expects things to be different, but it turns out that Margot has gone missing. Basically the book is just trying to figure out, where is Margot, why is Margot gone, like, you know, that it's just kind of figuring out her little secrets and her life and her mind, and also Q discovering who he is and what he really believes in and all that kind of stuff. It's really, really, really good. Also sad. It's also very, very sad. Another book on my list is Grace's Guide, The Art of Pretending to be a Grown-Up. I'm sure a lot of you know about this book. It is absolutely hilarious. It is by Grace Helbig, as I'm sure most of you, considering how you're on YouTube right now, are well aware of the existence of Grace Helbig. She is one of the funniest women I have ever come across in my entire life. She wrote this book, I think it was last year, and basically inside of it, it's just a bunch of her life, and things that she's learned, and it's extremely funny, you know, like it is very, very good points in the book, like very important things to know about, but at the same time it's like a funny, lighthearted way of looking at it. It's not crazy long, it is like 230 pages, but some of the pages are just picture pages. Some of them don't have a lot of writing on them. It's very colorful and like fun. So I definitely actually recommend this to young adults or even just adults. My mom read it and she absolutely thought it was amazing. The 6th book on my list is The Truth About Forever by Sarah Dessen. It's kind of, my copy's really like frayed and beat up because I have read it that many times. This has been one of my favorite books for years. I started reading Sarah Dessen books in grade 7? Grade 7? Oh my god, if you are ever going to read young adult novels, I definitely recommend reading something by Sarah Dessen. She's a really emotional writer. All of her books are really sad and heart-wrenching at some point. Always, but they all have very important lessons in them. And, you know, they're genuine things that happen when you're a teenager. It's about a girl named Macy who struggles to be perfect, and her boyfriend goes away to brain camp because he's like a genius or whatever, and basically she ends up meeting a bunch of new people and seeing things from a different point of view, and she just learns a lot about herself and about her family. And it sounds really cheesy, and it kind of is, but it is definitely the good kind of cheesy that you should absolutely, absolutely read because it is just amazing and very, very eye-opening. Next book on my list, la la la, you were waiting for it. This one in particular is Harry Potter and the Deathly Hallows. This one, I picked up this one because it is the last one and it breaks my heart. If you don't know the story of Harry Potter, basically there's this kid and he's a wizard, and you know, he goes on all these wizard adventures with his best friends, Ron Weasley and Hermione Granger. And this is the last of 7 books. And you just gotta read them. I know the movies are amazing and everyone's like, almost everyone's seen the movies, but you need to read them because they are amazing. J.K. Rowling is an absolutely amazing writer. And I grew up on these books. I don't know what I would do without them. I don't know where I would be without them. They are absolutely amazing, and if you don't read them, I will come to your house and make you read them. The 9th book on my list is The Fellowship of the Ring by J.R.R. Tolkien. These Lord of the Rings books, very, very long, very, very wordy. I do not recommend them to anyone who isn't a strong reader, but I do recommend them in general because The Lord of the Rings is amazing. I am absolutely in love with Lord of the Rings. I have a giant poster of Middle-earth on my wall. So that'll give you a little bit of insight about who I am. This book is about a hobbit named Frodo Baggins. He becomes the person who needs to watch over this magical ring. And it is a very powerful ring, and basically they're going on a quest to destroy it. and he brings along his best friend Samwise Gamgee and Gandalf and just elves and dwarves, and it's extremely mystical. If you like fantasy at all, you will love Lord of the Rings. If you haven't read them or anything, the movies are also absolutely amazing. They are one of the only movie series that I say is about as good as the books are. The books are extremely wordy and a little bit painful to read sometimes if you're tired, if you're not good at reading. Like, you have to be prepared to read this, but you definitely should read this. And the last book on my list is the book It's Kind of a Funny Story by Ned Vizzini. I read this book when I was first figuring out that I had cyclothymia and what it meant for me. This book is about a kid named Craig who is feeling suicidal, so he checks himself into a mental hospital. And it's about the people that he meets there and the things he experiences there. And he's only there for 5 days. He's not there for very long, but he learns a lot of stuff and he meets a lot of really cool people. And this book really, really helped change my mind about my mental disorders and about just my life with them in general. It's okay to have these kind of problems, and that there are a bunch of people who are there for you and who are just as weird as you are, but deserve love, and that you deserve love no matter what. The reason I chose this book for last is because, unfortunately, this book is based on a true story. It is based on the life of Ned Vizzini, the writer himself. He wrote this sort of, to remember the days that he was in a psychiatric hospital. Fortunately, Ned Vizzini passed away last year from suicide. He's just a truly, truly amazing writer. It is just an amazing book, and definitely worth reading. It is extremely, extremely empowering, and it is absolutely wonderful for anyone who has any type of mental illness to read, because it is very helpful, I found. And I would recommend it to anybody anyway. Like, even if you don't have a mental illness, it is absolutely just amazing to read. And it is definitely worth it. It is a young adult novel, but I would only recommend it to someone who has strong emotional control, because it is extremely sad. So those are 10 of my favorite books. If you have read any of these books and have opinions on them, or if you have any books that you think I should read, you can let me know. And otherwise, I will see you guys soon. Okay, bye! It was my birthday the other day, and my best friend got me this. She knows me so well.